Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Several weeks ago, I planted a bunch of my cold weather crop plants. And of course, I've had to keep them in the sunroom because of our weather this last month or so. It has been so cold. It's been down to like 3 degrees. And my little seedlings come up, and what's happened is they're getting spindly. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of poking them down in the hole, planting them deeper. They need to be out in the greenhouse, but it's just been too cold. Even though it heats up during the day, it's not heating up more than 20 degrees right now, and there's no heat out there. So even with the right lights, my plants are just getting a little bit spindly, so I'm just kind of planting them deeper and hoping they'll hold on till I can get them out in the ground. I've got broccoli and cauliflower, carrots and stuff like that. I've got radishes and beets and chives and celery, I haven't planted any cabbage yet, but they are just getting so spindly that I want to get that fixed until I can at least get them out into the greenhouse. I don't know how soon that'll be because our weather is just so frigid cold. Let's make some old-fashioned sugar cookies for the grandkids out of the Fannie Farmer cookbook. My granddaughter's here with me today, so we're going to mix up some old-fashioned sugar cookies. I'm going to put about 3/4 sugar in my bowl here. Now I've got a 1/2 cup of butter that I have whipped up. So I've got a 1/2 cup of butter in my bowl and 3/4 cup of sugar. I asked Avery, I said, "Are you going to help Nanny make some cookies?" She said, "No, Nan." She said, "I'm going to go out and play with Hank." She would rather be outside playing than cooking. And that's just fine. She loves Hank. She loves to go out and play with him. So I'm just going to mix up the 1/2 cup of butter and the sugar real good. And I'm just going to do it by hand. But you can do this with a mixer. But you know, this ain't going to make a big bulk of cookies. If it was, I would mix it in my big mixer for sure. So Avery just decided, no, I'm going to go play with Hank, Nan. So that's what she's going to do. And Nanny's going to go ahead and mix up these sugar cookies because I've got more family coming over, just a few. So we're going to whip up some cookies for them to eat. So I've got 2 egg yolks. And that's what Fannie Farmer cookbook calls for. It's 2 egg yolks, not 2 eggs. And she says that if you want a really more, prettier cookie, to add an extra egg yolk to it. I'm going to put 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. These old-fashioned recipes like this that date back so far, sometimes you have to be careful because they don't always come out right. But we're going to try this recipe. It does seem like a lot of butter for the amount of flour that I'm fixing to put in. And Fannie Farmer says old-fashioned sugar cookies need the distinctive flavor of butter. And she says to deepen the color to add an extra egg yolk. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of milk. Now, one thing you could do with these cookies, instead of milk, you could put a tablespoon of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice in there, and make lemon cookies. I need just a little pinch of salt. We're going to be using all-purpose flour. We need about 1.25 cups of all-purpose flour. You know, there's hundreds of different recipes for sugar cookies. I mean, some of them are better than others. Some of them are more of a cake-like. Some of them are more of a thin and crispy cookie. Just depends on what you like. But if you'll go back and look at the really old recipes, there is some difference between that and the newer recipes for cookies and different recipes. Fannie Farmer even says once these are baked, you could brush them with melted butter. I thought, good night, that's a lot of butter. But you can't ever have too much butter. I'm going to put just a little bit more milk because my dough seems a little dry. Now it only calls for 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I believe that if you wanted to put a 1/2 teaspoon, I think it would be fine, and you'd have probably your cookies would have a better rise on them. But that's what it calls for. And then just 1/4 pinch of salt. The best way to do these cookies is, after you get them mixed up, to put them in the refrigerator for a little while. So I stuck them in there for about 30 minutes. And I'm just going to roll them in little balls, and then I'm rolling them in just a little bit of cinnamon and sugar. Now that's just optional. You don't have to do that because it did make them pretty sweet, but they were still very good. In fact, there's not one cookie left. We ate them all. Mr. Brown ate the last ones this morning with his coffee. They're really good. Now, all that butter that we put in them, the first batch I cooked, the cookies spread out quite a bit, but they still were good. They were thin, but they had a really good consistency to them and tasted good. The second batch seemed to rise a little bit better, but I think I would put 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Avery come in and decided that her and Hank needed a ham sandwich. I'm going to put my cookies in a 375-degree oven for about 8 minutes. What do you want? What do you want? Sit. Good boy. So thank you for being with us on this slow Saturday. The cookies turned out delicious, and I hope you try them. So here I'm going to leave the recipe for you to copy or print. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all in a few days.